is like, if you don't get that stinking thinking under control, you're going to be in your own way. And if you are in your own way, you won't scale, you won't perform, you won't be in a flow state. So the first 6 chapters are literally about your mind and getting your mind right.
All right, awesome. Here we go again, another episode. And today I have Jen and Stacy on as my guests. Let me just tell you this. These two are pioneers in this real estate industry. We have a performance coach. We have one that's just dealing with the investors, hands-on, everything. I am excited to have both of you on the show. Welcome to the show. This is Action Takers podcast, Action Takers Unscripted, and I'm really as you can see, I'm excited. I'm ready to get this going and just have you share your story and who you are and where you're from. So with that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to you, Stacy and Jen. Just give me some background of who you are. Give us some background of who you are, where you're from, and what you have going on.
I'm gonna let you start.
Whoa.
I know.
Okay. Well,
Whoa.
I'm Stacy of Jen and Stacy. And my journey started about 20 years ago.
Okay.
I was at a Tony Robbins event and, much like what Tony Robbins does for people, helps them to see what they can't see. And I just realized I was on the wrong path for my life. I was in corporate America, climbing the ladder, and my background's accounting. Anyway, I was working my way to CFO, and I got hit with, this is not what you're meant to do. I didn't exactly know what I was meant to do, but it just got me searching. And so, just how the navigation goes, I ended up picking up Rich Dad, Poor Dad and learning about investing in real estate. And that was very logical to my accountant brain. And that was where it started. So I ended up, going to investor clubs and learning as much as I could. Then I joined some education program that gave horrible education that missed like 90% of the details. So and it was very expensive, terrible education. So my beginnings in real estate were very, very, very bumpy and very rocky and very difficult and challenging. But thankfully I didn't quit. I kept pouring through, and I was like, if I can ever figure this out, I'm going to go back and I'm going to teach other people how to do this the right way, because man, it was harder than it needed to be. But anyway, my journey has taken me from single family homes all the way up through, now we focus, exclusively on multifamily apartment buildings, but we've pretty much done everything else in between. And I've always done everything remotely, which is, I guess, a little bit unusual for people. But
a little bit unusual.
That's my background.
Yeah, it's usually a jaw dropper when we say that.
Right.
So I'm Jen Conkey, and I started in 2003, very similar to Stacy. We were on different paths, obviously. We didn't meet until 2015, but I started with single family flipping and worked my way through small residential buy and hold. And then by the time I met Stacy, who was already teaching people one-on-one how to do apartments, I really wanted to learn it. She had a really cool strategy with joint ventures, and I wanted to go bigger and learn about syndication. So we invested in that, learned how to do it. And then when we went to go implement, it quickly became, wow, it's going to cost a lot of money between an SEC attorney, the PPM, all of those things. And then, oh my God, what's a portal? We were just like, what? And because we're action takers, that felt like it kind of was a little bit too much red tape for us. So we thought, you know what, let's just stick to those 5 to 50 unit apartments and do joint venture for a little while before we go into syndication, which is what we did. And now that's what we focus on. We also have a capital company where we raise capital for different asset classes, because that's one of the best ways that we can really diversify our wealth. And we built our wealth in multifamily, and now we're going to protect it by diversifying and raising capital for different asset classes, which is where we are now. We're really trying to figure out how to get that capital company off the ground. So we're in our first deal raising for it. And that's pretty much us in a nutshell. We're fun.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. I think, Stacy, you had mentioned something about you had went to a education course and it was just horrible, right?
Uh-huh.
Can you just share without badgering that company or anything? Can you just share what it was that made you stick with real estate? Because a lot of people would have just gave up and just like, okay, it is not for me. I am not going to move forward. I just don't want to just move just based off of that. So what made you continue to move forward, and what made you continue to stay in the real estate game?
Oh, it's a really good question, because sometimes I look back and I'm like, I can't believe I stayed in, given how difficult it was because of all of the information that I was missing. But I think a part of it was once I learned about real estate investing, to me, I'm a logic-based person. So it made so much sense for long-term wealth building. And I had already quit my job and I was doing real estate full time. And I was like, man, I really don't want to have to go back to working at a job. So it was like, I just kept trying different things, figuring it out. I would pick up some side consulting things that were still in like the finance area as I was going through. But honestly, Arsenio, I think one of the reasons I didn't end up quitting, it actually wasn't me. I think it's just, I was meant to do something different with my life, which was go and give back the knowledge. And if I had quit, then I never would have been in a position to do that. So I feel sometimes like there was just some other forces at play that just like kept me in it. But Lord knows I wanted to quit several times because it was just so hard. But at the same time, I was also addicted to the real estate because it's challenging. And I like challenge. It's challenging. It's fun. It's difficult. You have to keep like growing as a human being and as a person. And things were always new because whether, when I moved from single family homes to duplexes, that was new. And then, doing it remotely was something different. And then doing, new construction, that was different. And then starting a property management company, and that was different. Doing apartments was different. So I think I was very intrigued because real estate investing has such a broad variety of things that you can do. If you're the type of person that likes to learn a lot of things, likes to know a lot of things, just me, real estate investing can just fulfill so many different areas. Now we really mostly just focus on multifamily and capital raising. But in the beginning, I kind of wanted to understand all of it. And so I think between those two things, like I was just meant to stay in it, and it served that part of me that likes things to be new and interesting. It kept me going.
I have another hypothesis about why she kept going. If you don't mind, I would love to add my 2 cents.
Please, man, share it.
Stacy has this thing where when she feels there's been an injustice, she will do whatever it takes to remedy or make that injustice equal. So I don't know. Fair. My hallucination is that horrible education made her go, you know what? That is just not fair. And there's all these other people that are out there paying $40,000. And you know what? I am not going to let that happen. I'm going to figure it out. And then I'm going to go teach. So that's just me. I feel like that was the deeper thing. And because that was the thread that she kept pulling on and kept figuring it out. Because quite honestly, that's what led to us starting the academy, was because of the injustice that she felt. So that's my 2 cents. Plus what she said.
Thank you, Jen.
That actually is fair. And Arsenio, how when you're new at something and there's someone that's not that much far ahead of you, but they've done something else, and you can look to them because they're kind of new too, not that much. They haven't been doing it much longer than you, and you're like, oh, if you could do it, I can do it. I was that person for a really long time. So I was in it for, 6 months or a year, and someone else would come in new. And I was so excited to be able to help them. Not for money, just I was like, oh, I can help you. And I loved doing that. Like it served a passion for my soul to be able to help in that way. I'm a natural teacher of adults, not children. Anyway, like when I did accounting, I was like, oh, let me tell you about debits and credits. They're the most amazing thing, and everything balances. It's wonderful. But, nobody cares about that except me and the other accountants. But Jen's right. It really came from a place of, it's not right that people are going to make this kind of investment in their education, and they're going to get out there and fall flat on their face because their education is complete garbage. And I can't have that. It's not right. It shouldn't be in the world. So I was like, if I ever figure this out, and I was not convinced that I would in the beginning, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to make it right. So part of our mission is like deeper. My mission was to disrupt the multifamily education industry. Instead of it being like, okay, cool, we give them the binder, cool, we give them a class, cool, we give them some general information,
cool, we give them a bus tour.
And really making it about giving people like, what do they actually truly need to take a deal across the finish line? Because, once you've done it once, every light bulb of all the theory you learned, every light bulb turns on. You're like, oh, and then it's infinitely easier, not easy, but infinitely easier to do the next one and then the next, and then you can grow and scale. And I'm really passionate about that. So real estate is fun. I love real estate. It makes us a lot of money. That's all great. But like from a mission and purpose standpoint, just helping other people to do that without falling on their faces and losing a ton of money I'm highly, highly driven by that.
Yeah.
I like this. I love this story, to be honest. I think you going through that, it helped you become the individual that you are today. So I
100%.
think, oh yeah, I believe some of the lessons that we go through in life, it makes us who we are. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was talking about failures. And I'm not saying that you was a failure, but the course in itself was a failure, right? But it allowed you to, like, I am not going to accept this as the end all be all for real estate. I'm not going to allow this to keep me just or accept this as this is it. This is the course you want to, like. No, I want to continue this. I want to be better. I want to make it better for people who actually want to get into this real estate game, because it can be for everyone. It's just,
oh, sure. Yeah.
It's just like,
in what way?
What do you really want? What do you want? Do you really want to get in this game, or how do you want to get in this game? Okay. Who do you need to contact? Who do you need to ask questions to? Because I think the multifamily space it's all about who you know, who you want to contact. And as long as you reach out to those people that's been in the game for a while, that maybe a couple steps ahead of you, that can help you get to the next level, I think as long as you're able to take those steps and take that action to move forward, you're going to be okay. You can succeed in anything in life when you find that person, that mentor, that coach, that teacher that's been in it for a while, has that experience, and just like I said, a few steps ahead of you, and can carry you along the way. But I appreciate you for doing that. So Jen, can you just share both of you, because both of you started in the single family space, and then you eventually transitioned into the multifamily space. Can you share how you start, why you started with single family, and then eventually when you made that decision, okay, multifamily is it. This is our thing.
Totally. So I would just like to go ahead and say that when I started, it was on accident. I was already in a career. I was doing really well. Back in 2002, I was climbing that corporate ladder as an executive at Target Corporation. And my brother came over to my house and said, "Hey, come with me. I'm gonna go to the store really quick." And we're driving around, and he kept talking about flipping for profits. And I was like, "What are you talking about? I got to get back home. There's this book I'm reading about leadership right now, and I really want to get back in it." And he was like, No. 6 hours later, we were back at his house, and we were creating a strategy on how we could do it as a business together, flipping houses, because he finally showed me what was in it for me, right? That's how you get my attention, right? What's in it for Jen? Like anybody else. And so once I realized, I could do this on the side while I'm still working and climbing that corporate ladder, that's cool. So it started off as a side gig, a side hustle. Not going to lie, the first one was a complete flop. After 7 months, we made like $1,500. And I mean, I literally personally broke up 2 tons worth of tile and did the renovation work with my brother and my dad. Like, it was all DIY, painful as hell. Needless to say, I lost them after that. They were like, "No, I'm not doing that anymore." So flipping was just like, okay, I'm going to try this, because like Stacy, I don't like to feel like I failed at something. So unless I've given it my good all, right? So I wanted to try and keep doing it until I could get it right. And I did, but it wasn't as profitable because I had to put a lot of capital. I lived in California, and I didn't know how to do remote investing until I met Stacy. So I did it in my backyard. It wasn't profitable. You have to put a lot of capital up just to get very little return, especially at that time. So I was like, this is really becoming another job. And for me, it was like, how do I hold them and rent them out instead as passive income, but which is really not really passive unless you're an LP. It's more like active income in a different way. So I decided to make that, because I was done with the flipping aspect of it. To me, it just felt like if I could get into buy and hold it, and then the whole thing about being a landlord was not cool. I didn't know about third-party property management until I met Stacy also. So I don't know if y'all are picking up on this, but meeting Stacy was critical for my path and my journey. Because I learned about third-party property management. I learned about remote investing. And then those two things alone just changed. They are game changers. They're game changers because now it's more scalable. And now it's not a job. It's a business.
Right.
So for me, that 12 years of just grinding and grinding and grinding while still climbing the corporate ladder and having to go for promotions and continue my personal development and do all of those things. It was a really long 12 years, and I played small for too long. And I didn't go get education like Stacy did. I've always had a huge ego and try to do everything on my own. And there's been mistakes that were made with, 5 figures in it, almost close to 6 figures in it in one day, losing 80 grand because I didn't do an inspection. It's just dumb things. And then having to flip 5 houses in order to pay that down, and just making a lot of trial by error. And because my strategy back then was fire, ready, aim. And then in 2015, when I met Stacy, it was funny because we met on an online dating app, and I had no idea she was into real estate. She had no idea I wanted to do real estate or was doing anything related to real estate because I was still in corporate America, and that was just my thing. Once we were dating and I was talking about it, I was like, wait, what? You invest remotely? Like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, I definitely need to date this broad more. So we did. And then I realized that because in corporate America, I was a regional, and I would fly around on a Target jet and land and go into buildings and just consult them on how to make their operation better. And I was sort of like a turnaround specialist. And I had these remote processes. And then when talking to her, and she had a remote strategy, like the two of us came together and put a blueprint together that is just completely scalable. She started training people. She was training people one-on-one, but she started training people on that one-on-one model. And I was like, let's do it one to many. What if we could do that? Because for those 12 years that I was grinding it out, all I wanted was a community where I could say, hey, Arsenio, I'm really struggling with this contractor, and this is what's going on. Like, what would you do? And bounce ideas off and really just have a sense of belonging and a sense of community where we're all like-minded. And it took a while, but she finally said yes. And then that's when we decided, let's do this. Let's do a one-to-many and figure out how to do group coaching, and then also offer some one-on-one coaching. And let's just see where it goes. And she enrolled our first 3 people into the academy 4 years ago. And it was like late 2019, early 2020. And it's been ever since. We went from the one-on-one model to the one-to-many model. And then it just kept growing into now we have the in-person events, and that's what we live for. And so I really, really, really appreciate and have a tremendous amount of gratitude for her absolute crappy education. Because if she did not get that,
right.
If she did not get that education
exactly.
and feel the injustice of it and just keep going out of pure spite, like we wouldn't have so many people that we're impacting, and we wouldn't have this life. So I'm one of those people where I'm just gonna acknowledge when something has been what seems like a setback and say, no, that was a setup.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of insight on my take, and where I've been and where we are now and what I'm grateful for.
So Jen, what I took from that is Stacy is the gal.
I'm married up.
Yeah.
Stop it. It's funny, Arsenio, because what I am very good at teaching. I'm very good at taking complex subjects and breaking them down to make it really easy to understand. Like it's a gift that I have and whatever. Like I said, I'll try to apply it to debits and credits if you let me. But anyway, one of the things that when Jen and I came together, and it really created this powerhouse type of situation, because I'm a very detail oriented person, super analytical. I'm in the details. I also tend to think small compared to Jen is not only a much bigger picture thinker, she's a strategist and a visionary. So when we got together, I had all these things that I've been doing, and I had, some systems in place. And then when Jen and I started putting our heads together on real estate, she was the first one who said, why are we playing so small? Let's go learn syndication. And I was like, oh, okay. And so she started pushing us to go bigger and bigger and bigger. And then also creating new systems and together we're better together.
Yeah, because she's the key. She'll do it all the way down to the keystroke level and explain it to you in ways like I would rather have a boil on my eye. I don't want to do the details. I want to see the numbers. I want to be able to look at the patterns, the trends, make distinctions. And as soon as I started seeing what she was capable of, and I noticed immediately her unique ability to take a complex topic and break it down in A to Z, I mean, literally Real Estate for Dummies. She could have wrote every book. She's so good at it. And I was just like, I saw nothing but huge opportunity to have this ripple effect, and quite selfishly to train people on our method so that long term, 3, 5, 10 years from when we started, we will have an army of people that could bring us deals using our system, so we know that it will work, versus investing in people that are just kind of ad hoc out there. I was like, well, I look at this as an opportunity to create a farming system that we will eventually do deals with these guys. And that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, so we're on deals 4 and 5 right now.
Yeah. It's really awesome. So it's really just unfolding. We trained. Yeah. We trained them. So we know
several years.
And we watched them for 2 years before we jumped in the deals with them. So we know they're really good. And we wouldn't have had that if she wouldn't have said yes. And we definitely wouldn't have had it if she had a better education.
That's true. It really, that it was a gift.
Yeah.
I think it was also a gift. I think this is for everybody. And no matter what business you're in, real estate or anything in life, especially if you're going to go back and ever teach, every mistake I made, every difficult situation I faced, every one of those things, as painful as they were at the time, I can easily look back now and say, that was a gift. Because then I was able to give that gift to I'd say our students, people in the academy, or anybody that I'm teaching about real estate, and be like, let me teach you how to do it right. But sometimes when people are learning something, you don't necessarily understand like why something matters until I show you the contrast of it. So Jen and I are very open with our students and about the mistakes that we've made, not because we're like, oh, look how dumb we were. Like, everybody makes mistakes. It wasn't that. Right. It's more like, this is the way you should do it. And people are like, yeah, okay. I'm like, but let me help you understand why, like, you really need to do it this way. Mm-hmm. And I would tell a story about what created this new system. And they're like, oh, and by, no matter what we do, people are not going to avoid every imaginable mistake. They're going to come up with their own new mistakes to make. Yep. But at least if we can save them from making 95% of the normal newbie mistakes, then we've made a difference in the world. And then they go pay it forward. And then someone else pays it forward. And it's just,
but when it comes to multifamily, I think when people like work together and they connect, that's when you actually scale. I think that's what helps you scale, because you have people with the same mindset. People like when you get in the same room with those individuals and going to these conferences and going to these meetups, it's like, I went to a conference last year. It's just, when you're in a room with those type of individuals, your mindset changes, and you're drinking through a water hose. But it's those connections that you make, those networking events that when you go to those conferences, those networkings, those individuals, they've helped me grow and helped me understand, like, going alone, you can do it, but you're going to slow the process down tremendously. But once you start making those connections and meeting with those people, like I said, like-minded individuals, you can skyrocket. Like, boom, like within 5 years, you could be multimillionaire, dealing with triple net leases, dealing with you started with 5 units, now you're at 100, 1,000. Like, I've met people who's scaled themselves from one single family house to 1,000 units. Like, how in the world within 2 or even 1 year? Like, how are they doing this? It's the people that they are connecting with and being with those individuals who are like-minded, just like them. Because being in the military, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I really do. And I enjoy being a leader. I've been in 14 years, being a leader for the Marines that's under me. But seeing them grow from young Marine to being a senior enlisted, senior officer, whatever the case may be, mentoring them, seeing them grow is awesome. And same thing what you do, you and yourself, Jen Stacy, what y'all do for your community and the real estate community in general. You're seeing these individuals who started as newbies, and maybe some seasoned investors and just don't know how to get from point A to point B or point C to D. You're seeing them grow in your programs, and your program has grown in itself from small four people to what it is now. It's just, It's just amazing. And looking back, we keep referring back to that bad education. If it hadn't been for that, maybe it hadn't been able to make me Jen and able to help her scale and be able to be the profound individuals that you are and being a powerhouse team that you are is just incredible. Okay. Let's get into your book. Enough of me running my trap. Let's get into your book. I see the book behind you. What led you to get into the multifamily freedom hacking book, and what made you guys write a book on it?
I think that the biggest thing for us was we made it a playbook. Like there's so many books out there that are just marketing books and they're fluff. They say what and all the things that you can get. We wanted to be different. I'm going to make a divisive statement right now. I'm just going to put the flag in the ground, right?
Okay.
A lot of those books are just they're nothing. They're fluff. They're, hey, I'm a credible person because I'm an author. And again, we wanted to disrupt that. So we wrote that book with the intention of it being a playbook. So it's not just a book. There's like 212 pages. It's a workbook. The first 6 chapters are all about mindset, because that's 80% of any business. It's 80% of life. Is like, if you don't get that stinking thinking under control, you're going to be in your own way. And if you are in your own way, you won't scale, you won't perform, you won't be in a flow state. So the first 6 chapters are literally about your mind and getting your mind right. There's workbooks in there, little activities to do. Then we get into real estate. And a lot of people, they want to go straight to chapter 7 and like, oh, I'm just going to read about the real estate. And I advise, please start with chapter 1, because it is a stair-step book and it builds upon like a ladder. And if you're really trying to climb, start at chapter 1, get your mind right. And then, because that's 80% of it. And then the 20%, the logistics, the how starts at chapter 7.
Okay.
We wanted to be different and create an actual playbook. So that's why we wrote the book.
Nice. I like the mindset piece, because a lot of us get stuck in that mindset piece, analysis paralysis, right? When you get to that point and you just can't find a way to get over, and the self-doubt, they will hinder you from getting to where you potentially could be in life in general. Like at one point when I started my journey into real estate, I was stuck I probably was in analysis paralysis for about 6 to 7 months before I actually took the action to move forward and actually get into, I started with single family as well, get into single family. And then just, I don't know what it was. I think I was either reading a book or listening to a podcast where it was like, okay, if you don't want to move forward, you just stay where you're at. Don't ask any questions. Just continue doing what you're doing, and you won't move forward. But if you actually want to get to the next level, look, I think it was Who Not How. Maybe Who Not How.
Oh, that makes sense.
Who Not How. Like, find that person. Like, find that person to get. And I found that person. That person he's in the military still, and he's doing investing all over the place. He's got his own company, get all types of stuff. So a lot of people don't know about him, but he has been tremendous and an important influence on my life and getting me into the mindset of, you can do this, but you have to get over your limiting beliefs in yourself. So I gotta read your book. I gotta read that book. So I'm definitely going to make sure that the audience members have access to your book.
We'll ship you a copy of it.
Oh, awesome.
That as a gift for having us on the podcast. So we'll get your address and we'll ship it to you.
Awesome.
I think one of the reasons are, the first several chapters of the book are about mindset, and Jen's right. Some people are like, oh, okay, mindset. Let me just jump to chapter 7 and get right down to it. And I think one of the reasons are, our students in the academy are so successful because everything is about results. The reason so many people get results, it's not that I'm such a good teacher. I'm good at teaching, but it's not that. It's not the technical information. It's because we have such a heavy mindset component in our academy. It's as important as the real estate. I mean, we know the reality is it's actually more important than the real estate, but we have that much emphasis. And it's interesting because when we do a live event, once a quarter for our students, and then we invite people from the public to come in. And back in May, Jen did she's an NLP master practitioner. So she's got all these really fabulous other skills as well. But she walked everybody in the academy who was there through like a hypnosis meditation that was called I Am Worthy. And it's like, what does that have to do with real estate? Are you kidding me? And it was amazing because when that was done, like there were so many people that were like, whoa. And a lot of people realized that is an underlying thing that most people are dealing with in some fashion, in some way, about being worthy, whether it was a parent who made them not feel worthy, or a sibling, or a teacher, or whoever, society. And so almost everybody is dealing with some level of worthiness as a thing. And so it was interesting. The other thing that Jen did during that event is she had people break a 40-pound arrow, strong enough to kill a grizzly bear, on their throat. And between those two things, it was very interesting to see what happened afterwards. It's like it broke something open among our students in the academy. Like people are going, but all of a sudden there was way more deals going on. Like within, 30 to 45 days after that event, all of a sudden there's all these deals going on and all this thing. And I was like, I think it's the mindset stuff, because we cover some real estate stuff there, but they already have the real estate stuff in the course. And I'm like, this mindset stuff, like it's transforming people because they had all the knowledge before. Only thing that was different is
they didn't have the belief.
They didn't have the belief.
Yeah. And they went from 6-figure raises to 7-figure raises.
Yeah.
For those that were trying to get deals
done.
Like
it made a fundamental change in the people in the academy. And it was because of the mindset work. So we're just, we've always both known that mindset is really important, but we just continue to see evidence of just how important it is, especially when we hear of other people in other programs and how much they're doing or not doing, and whether there is or is not a mindset component. And I'm like, that's what it is. It's
Arsenio, it's so important. Mindset's it's so important to us. I give away my mindset course for free.
Yeah.
So if that's interesting, or if that's something that your audience would be interested in, we can give you a link for the show notes.
Absolutely.
But and then you can get in there and do it. We've got a couple of peers and raise masters that are going through it, and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. It's a very good course.
Yeah.
And the fact that, if you're into mindset and do it, it opens up a lot of different belief shifts for you. And then you just perform at a different level.
Yeah.
If my audience, if you're not interested in this, like, I don't know why not, because the story you just told, I'm like, oh my goodness, it motivates me. Like I'm definitely going to try it out. Definitely going to read the book. Thank you for that. I'm definitely going to share that in the link for the audience members. Jen and Stacy, I know we're getting close on time. I would love to spend more time with you and just even speak more on we could probably have another episode on mindset and just how powerful it is. We probably could go on for days probably about it, and just about multifamily, how it is. Yes, like you said, that is a part of like knowing the ins and outs of multifamily and real estate investing. Having that education is good, but if you're not in the right mindset, it could be detrimental to you. So I 100% agree with you on the mindset piece and how powerful it is, and getting you in the right mindset is just key to not just in real estate, just being better at life, getting to just unlocking that unlimited potential within yourself. Okay, with that, I think that is a good segue to just get the audience members to know more about you, who you are, what you're doing. Okay, so what's next for you? I want to ask that before we get to your social media, and then you can share how people can connect with you. So what's next for you and you, Jen, and you, Stacy? What's next for you, both of you?
Yeah, well, both of us.
We do it all together.
We do it all together.
Yeah.
All together. So we're closing on a 13 unit, a 48 unit. 13 unit has 20 self-storage. So that's a fun project.
Yeah, seller financing.
Seller financing.
That's a good one.
That's good stuff. And just getting ready for our event. We have our events every 3 months. So we take a lot of time to prepare and get ready for the experience. And that's about it. Yeah, that's all we got going on. Just a few things.
And our 4 kids and our current portfolio.
Is it WOW conference that I'm thinking about? Is that
the Warriors of Wealth conference? It's called WowCon. We have 4 a year. So the next one that's coming up is in February.
Okay.
We lined out all of our speakers, and it's going to be a good show. Not show, but
And it's
conference.
Orlando, Florida, right?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like anybody that wants to check it out, it's wowcon.com.
Okay.
It's WOWCON.com. And we do them 4 times a year. So even if you just go to that URL and just see when the next one is, there's also virtual options. So because we believe on just impacting as many people as we can.
Nice. I'll make sure that we include that in the show notes. Okay. How can people connect with you as far as social media?
On social media?
Well, social media, we're everywhere.
We're on connect with your period.
YouTube, we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn.
We're everywhere.
I think we're on Instagram.
If you just search for Jen Conkey or Stacy Conkey, you'll find us on social media. But we do have a resource page for anybody that's interested. And it's we curated a list of videos that are just free. I think there's like 6 or 7 in there.
Trainings.
Just trainings. Yeah. To get a foundation of what we do. It's like a foundation of our blueprint. And I don't remember what we have it as a bit.ly link. So it's like bit.ly/Jen and Stacy, Stacy. We'll get you that link too. Yeah.
Yes. We'll definitely include all that in the show notes. All right. This is it. Any final or parting words to the audience members that you have?
No, I'll just one last thing. Implementation is your superpower. That's good stuff.
Yeah, I would just say, for people who are listening, if you're already in real estate, awesome. And if you're not, but you're listening because you want to get started in real estate, Arsenio talked about being stuck in analysis paralysis, and I can relate. I suffered from that a lot as well. Just know that literally time keeps ticking away, and before you know it, a year has passed, and then 3, then 5, then 10, and that gets very scary if you don't at some point put your flag in the sand or the dirt. What's the saying? Well, anyway,
stake your flag.
Stake your flag and do something. Make some kind of move, because whatever you do, you're going to learn. You're going to gain confidence. You're going to gain credibility, and you're going to start changing your life. But a lot of times people stay too long thinking about what if. At some point, sooner than later, make a decision and make a move, because that is the start of everything, and your entire life can change. But it starts with you getting out of fear and getting out of analysis paralysis and taking that step, which can change the future of yourself and your family, like forever.
Yeah.
I love it. That's a perfect way to end it. I don't think it's any better than that. All right. But no, Jen and Stacy, thank you so much for coming on today. I enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure my audience will also enjoy this episode. But it's been great, and hopefully one of these days, whenever I leave Japan, I can come. I'll attend one of your events, and we can meet in person and just.
We would love that.
Yeah, I would love to join and help you guys, and you guys helping me and helping my audience. So why not return the favor? And I love helping people too. So again, thank you for coming on. I enjoyed the conversation, and I'll see you around the corner.
Sounds good. Thank you, Arsenio. Thanks for having us.
Arsenio.